Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Gourmet Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_Access. Joined alongside Emilio in Tennessee. We got Tim in Green Bay. We got Jacob in Wisconsin here to talk Packers as we've gotten breaking news throughout the day. 3 more top 30 visits set up for the Green Bay Packers. Really scouting report for all of those. Going to be a lot of fun. Gents, how we doing today? Everybody have a good day? Good?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
We got a full house formation tonight. I like it.
I'm telling you, man. Little full house, little jumbo backfield here. All right.
Wishbone, you know.
A little wishbone. Look at Tim flexing.
Wishbone, that's a secret move Jacob uses at the office, right?
It is a wishbone. Yeah, I think you're right. Let's get this party kicked off right and hit some Patreon questions before we jump into the top 30 visits. Really excited to break those down as well. Chris N in the chat says, Clayton, I think we need to start considering wide receiver a premium tier. One position considering wide receiver one top of market is $40 million, and top of market wide receiver 2 is now $30 million. Would you consider making the change? Chris, you can do whatever you would like, sir. I am not going down that route because I'm from the Bill Belichick, Bill Walsh school of thought of wide receivers the last piece you put in place. And you go trying to pay a receiver $30 and $40 million without having the most important aspects of a football team put together, you end up doing what the Cincinnati Bengals do. And you end up doing what, some of these other teams like the Dallas Cowboys, why did they never get over the hump, right? They paid CeeDee Lamb, and now they looked up and said, damn, we can't pay Micah Parsons. They had a little bit of a spat with Dak Prescott, right? A lot of things kind of pop up. They surface when you're prioritizing paying wide receiver before all the other pieces are in place. Now, is Green Bay to that point? Some could argue, yeah, they're a playoff team. They won 11 games. But I would have
playoffs.
I would have no problem with, hey, let's go pay a receiver $30 or $40 million if they are top 3, top 5 at their position. The problem is those guys don't hit the market. So you've got to find them in the draft. So Tay Adams, if we find another Tay Adams, pay him. You know what I mean? When his 4 years are up, pay him. What do you guys think about that? I am a strong no with that. And again, I'm not saying Chris is wrong. It's just I've read too many football books and studied too many great football minds to just all of a sudden pop up one day. You know what? Wide receiver should be the most important piece. So what do you guys think?
His receiving is tough.
Yeah, I think that it's fair to say that depending on the team's situation, you could call a wide receiver a premium tier, but it's just overall in the grand scheme of things, I think that you're right, Clay. I think that it has to be, it's one of those last puzzle pieces you want to put in.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's nice having speed threat on the outside. I think you got to keep the defense honest vertically, but shelling out $40 million, I'd rather protect the $250-300 million we have standing behind our center right now. So that'd be my take.
Yeah, not to be boring, but I agree with everyone on this. I'd rather keep bringing in young talent or grabbing from the free agent pool like we did with McCall Hardman. And just kind of cycling guys in or UDFAs, whatever it is, rather than just going crazy and paying a true, wide receiver one and breaking the bank.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, if Justin Jefferson was a free agent, yeah, I'd be okay with that. Those guys just never hit the market. So it's kind of one of those questions that, when does it apply, right? Like, I know some people, and I'm not saying Chris was, obviously I don't think he was, but some people were convinced T. Higgins was the truth, right? And I just don't see it that way. I don't. And that's the other thing. When you spend that much money on a wide receiver, now you get away from what you want to do schematically in Matt LaFleur's system, which is throw to the open receiver. You're scheming guys open. You're marrying the run with the pass, and everything looks the same every snap, and you got the illusion of complexity with simplicity at its core, right? And then when you get one of these guys in there and you're going, damn, all right, we paid him $42 million or $38 million, whatever it is. we better just chuck the ball up to him into double coverage. Me no like that, Jan. As a wise man once said. So get a couple
I was just going to say, just before we get too far behind, Mr. Jason Y gave us a $2 super chat, and he said, you know what time it is. 1 out of 10. Come on,
We've got so much to cover. We might do it, boys. If we get through the content real quick, we'll do it, okay? Chuck Jaggers with the super chat. Pick Tracian Holden in the 7th. All right. Let's take a look real quick. Pull the board up. Go ahead.
416 on our board. All we have is consensus of 318.
Emilio's on it. Appreciate it, Emilio. So that one of those late round gems that Chuck likes. Good stuff, Chuck. Appreciate the super chat, man. And the next question here in the Patreon group, Andy Monday says, as far as quarterbacks in the first round, it's interesting that very few starting quarterbacks in the league are 30-plus years old. Stafford, Russell Wilson, Geno, Carr, Dak, Baker, and Goff are just 30 at 7. I mean, that's a pretty good shot. That's it. Not as many teams looking to replace an old guy. Only a few seasons ago, we had Rodgers, Brady, Breeze, Manning, Big Ben, Rivers, Matt Ryan, Flacco all heading out. It affects the draft board when there's a bunch of old QBs. I think that's a valid point. I do. It's interesting. And we got into some quarterback talk yesterday, which I really enjoyed because, again, do I want the Packers to take a quarterback early? Absolutely not, unless it's just an absolute stud that falls right in their lap. But quarterbacks drive the draft and all this talk that we've been hitting on here lately. Rodney in the chat says, hey, Clayton, have you checked out Baron Sorrell from Texas as a possible 7th-round pick? By the way, Chamir Dyke, I hope I'm saying that right, Chamir Dyke, is pronounced Shimmery DK. Why do they do this to us, boys?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
He was a former Badger star receiver before transferring left when Jim Leonard left. I think I actually looked him up a second ago. Now I've lost it. Do you have him, Emilio, on our board?
Yeah, Barron we have at 226.
Okay.
606 PFF. I mean, he was PFF Big Board had him 109. Consensus had him 218.
Got it. So the main thing that's bringing him down is his 2024 PFF grade of where he was 311th at his position. Right.
But he did get a 9+ RAS.
Yeah, nice athletic dude there late in the draft, possibly, Rodney. Good eye, man. Good eye there. So there you go. There's the Patreon questions. Appreciate everybody. Again, just one of the perks of being in our Patreon group, and always good questions there. Let's jump into the news of the day. We already broke this prospect down the other day, but boy, oh boy, it came flying across the wire earlier this afternoon. And that is Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver from Ohio State.
Here's the guy.
Top 30 visit in Green Bay. You guys know he's number 19 on our board. Before we jump into it, let's hit the super chat real quick. Evan Hooper, thank you so much, Evan. Hey, guys, I usually don't make the lives. I work night, but your podcast has gotten me through some long night shift, and I appreciate it. Hey, thank you, Evan. Appreciate that, man.
Thanks for Evan. Appreciate you getting us the report.
Yeah, man. Thanks for the support, and glad we can make those work days a little bit easier, man, for sure. That's what I do when I'm out there on the grind, man. I'm listening to podcasts all day long. Yeah. I can't stand to listen to ours because I hate the sound of my damn voice, but I get fed off a lot of other podcasts for sure.
Yeah.
So. All right. So here we go. Bucket Skolberg working overtime. The Green Bay Packers have reportedly scheduled a top 30 visit with Ohio State wide receiver Emeka Egbuka per team sources, marking him as a prime target for the 2025 NFL Draft. Egbuka ranked number 19 on our PTA big board, impressed at the NFL Combine with his 6', 202-pound frame, 4.48 second 40-yard dash, and polished route running, offering the Packers a dynamic weapon to pair with Jordan Love in their evolving offense. Let me ask you guys, before we jump into all the details of Emeka Egbuka, I like to do this when we do these top 30 visits breakdown. We'll start with you this time, Tim, and then we'll go to Jacob, then Emilio. What's your initial thoughts on Emeka Egbuka before we dive too deep into it? Would you be okay with him at 23? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, absolutely. You guys know I'm the president of the Jaden Higgins fan club. But, all of that aside, there's a lot of first-round eligible receiver talent, I think, in this draft, and Egbuka certainly fits the bill. And the more I watch film on him, man, he just looks like a Packer type of receiver. He really does. And it might explain why, we've shown so much interest in him at this stage of the game. So we're a couple weeks away. It would not completely shock me if we did go receiver first round and he was the pick, put it that way. if we break the mold here and take a receiver in the first round and it's a Emeka Egbuka, I would not be completely shocked at all.
There you go. Jacob, what do you think, man?
I've definitely started to increase the way my positive thoughts towards Emeka at first. For whatever reason, I didn't think he was going to be around. Then I thought just doesn't fit the bill. Then I thought he's more of a slot. Now I'm starting to think of him as more of like maybe more like a Jaden Reed type, where he definitely can play the slot. He can definitely play, even if you want him to play some X snaps, he could do that. The Z, I think he's just really a really versatile puzzle piece that we could use on that team. It's just that in the 23 spot, I really just want to reserve that for whether it's wide receiver or edge or offensive line. I just really want it to be more of a blue chip, like this guy is a plug and play. That's gonna. I think that 23 pick in the first round for this Packers team needs to be somebody that's a slotted in starter. I'm so sick of us wasting time and money and years on guys that really don't see a lot of playing time.
All right. A 2-0 for this says Egbuka in the first, Jack Besh in the second, then trade all our picks for a long snapper. There you go. All right. Emilio, what are you thinking about Egbuka here at 23 possibly?
I honestly have always really liked him. I would be completely fine taking him at 23. I think that it would make everybody happy. I think it could be one of those trade back, get him at 27 type things. But
that'd be cool.
I really do like the way he plays. Plays it right, carries himself right. Good head on his shoulder, and I think that's going to be huge. I think that them seeing him in person, getting that kind of feel for it, sometimes that can just make the jump.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
So let's jump into the scouting report here. This is from high school. Look at this picture, by the way. Who's that poor sap with his cleats in the air back there? Egbuka just ran right through his face. You got to love it. So scouting report coming out of high school, a 5-star recruit from Steilacoom. I hope that's right. High school. Back home, you steal a coon, you get shot. You know what I'm saying? There that goes. I'm just saying, man.
Who?
Raccoons back home. You got to be careful with that. In Washington, Emeka Egbuka entered the 2021 class as the nation's elite prospect at 6'1", 190. We now know he's 6 foot. He's actually like 6 foot. What they call a 6'07". So he's probably a little over 6 foot and a half inch, I guess you could say. 190 pounds. He combined elite speed with crisp agility, starring as a wide receiver and return specialist. His senior highlights showcase smooth hands, explosive breaks, and a knack for yards after catch, earning him Washington Gatorade Player of the Year honors. Ranked number 8 overall by 24/7 Sports, Egbuka picked Ohio State over offers from Oklahoma, Clemson, and Washington, with scouts pegging him as a future first-round talent. Goes on to his college statistic. Egbuka's 4-year run at Ohio State from 21 to 24 highlights his evolution into a top-tier receiver. In 2021, as a true freshman, he played 13 games, recorded 9 catches for 191 yards. He broke out in 2022. His sophomore year, guys, listen to this, 74 catches for 1,151 yards and 10 touchdowns over 13 games, alongside Marvin Harrison Jr., earning freshman All-American nods. His 2023 season saw a dip due to a nagging ankle sprain, 49 catches, 515 yards of 4 touchdowns in 10 games, but he still secured honorable mention All Big Ten. In 2024, Egbuka erupted with 81 receptions, 1,011 yards, and 10 touchdowns over 13 games, adding 12 rushes for 91 yards and 2 scores, earning first-team All-Big Ten honors. His career totals ended up being 213 catches, 2,868 yards, and 26 touchdowns over 49 games. Detailed scouting report entering the draft. At the combine, Egbuka measured 6 foot, 202 pounds with 31-inch arms, blending speed with a 4.48 40 and a 38-inch vertical. His 2024 tape reveals a technician with rare polish, fluid hips, and precise route breaks, and reliable hands, just 3 drops and 103 targets. He thrives in the slot or outside, excelling at creating separation with savvy footwork and bursting after the catch. While not a burner like some peers, his short area quickness and body control make him a quarterback's dream. His versatility and football IQ project him as an instant impact wide receiver 2 with wide receiver 1 potential in Green Bay's scheme. So that's suggesting, hey, look, you can plug and play him right in the spot. There's your number 2 wide receiver his rookie year, working his way into wide receiver 1. As Coach Lynn says, everywhere he's been, he's produced, man. It's kind of rare that you see someone come out so highly touted out of high school and live up to the expectation. He seems to have done that. And, we're always talking about how Goody likes Georgia players, that's something that's just been kind of a common theme. You know what I think he likes more than just Georgia players? It seems like he's always looking into the national championship teams. You notice that? It seems like that's what he kind of likes to dip into is, hey, these dudes know what it takes, the big one, and be a part of an organization that's bigger than them because, you win a national title. Typically, it's not because you got this big stud superstar. Like, look at the quarterback of Ohio State, Will Howard. He's probably not even going to be as high as a 4th-round pick, right? But what do you have across the board? You have 2 receivers. His entire time at Ohio State, Egbuka has had to work in tandem with other big-name receivers. JSN, right? If I remember correctly, went there. Marvin Harrison. Garrett. I mean, it's just constantly there's a receiving core there, and it has become the quintessential receiver in college football for sure. So
you mentioned Goody loving the Georgia players and the championship experience. I wonder if that explains a little bit of why we were so high on Quay in the first round. National champion, part of a big defense, arguably the number 1 defense in the country at the time. And I wonder if that's what kind of pushed him over the edge and made us go ahead and take a flyer on Quay.
Devontae Wyatt too, Tim.
Yep.
Right. Same thing.
Yep.
So Javon Bullard, if I remember correctly.
Junior.
Yeah. There you go.
And they're the ones that have gone on a run too. I mean, let alone the regular season. You got to go through the playoffs now. You got extra games. You got wear and tear on the body. How do you carry yourself? Can you still compete when the lights get brighter? All that.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll be honest. As I'm reading over these, he's kind of. You guys are kind of convincing me here.
Here we go.
Oh boy, here's a guy.
Wow.
For some reason, I thought he was a little more stocky and slow, but 6 foot 202 with 31-inch arms with a 4.48 and a 30-inch vert. I mean that, and just the 3 drops on the 103 targets. The fact that if they really do consider him a plug and play starting wide receiver too, I think you might have twisted my arm a little bit, dog.
Here's the guy.
And Jacob, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like this was my guy the whole time either, man. It became apparent to me about a month ago when I noticed him on the board and he's like hovering around Luther Burden and all those guys. And then all of a sudden he separates himself where he's number 2 behind Tet McMillan. And then I hear Greg Cosell talk about him like, this dude is going to play in the league for 10 or 12 years. And he's going to be an Amon-Ra St. Brown type player. Like he mentioned a couple of different players similar to that. But this is one of those guys that got brought up. He can play everywhere too. Like he can play Z. He's big enough to play X. You could put him at X if you wanted to. Now he's not going to be that jump ball guy, although you'll see some of these pictures we got of him. Matter of fact, I think I've got one down here. Or did I already show it? I believe I already did. That one right there. Look at this. Like going up into double coverage on Texas and bringing that thing down high pointed, right?
I mean, his contested catch rate is 60%. So
there you go. There you go.
And he's a walking 12 yards per reception too. Like, I mean, if you just go back even the last 3 years, I don't know what his do we have anything on his yards after the catch numbers, but just looking at the PFF grades, man, it's something it's something to pay attention to for sure.
Yeah.
Looks like he averaged 5.9 yards after catch, tied for 165th. Not terrible.
Not terrible. Not great, not terrible. Room to improve, right?
Yeah,
he's tied for 31st in contested catches. I mean, that's a lot of players in the NCAA for him to be even up that far. 785 yards in the slot was 22nd. I mean, he had 193 screen yards, which was 18th. I mean, the guy, like you said, he just produces wherever he is.
Right.
Yep.
So the RAS card, a 9.71. He has 9.63 hand size. His arm length actually came in at 31.5 inches. So really nice arm length there for a receiver, especially one of a little over 6'1.5", 202 pounds, a vertical jump of 38 inches. And then you had the composite speed grade being great with the 40-yard dash being a 4.48, with the strongest point of that, the 10-yard split was. So he ran the 10-yard split in 1.5 seconds. That means he's going to have burst off the line. Shuttle 4.12, which scored him an 8.86. He did not have a 3-cone drill measurement there. Now, when we look at injury and character concerns, Egbuka's injury history includes that 2023 ankle sprain costing him 2 games and lingering into late season. Though he played through it, in 2024 he showed no setbacks, logging a full slate and hitting 20 miles per hour in Ohio State's pro day drills. Durability isn't a major concern, but his frame may need monitoring against physical corners. I say monitoring? Yeah, monitoring. Okay. Off the field, Egbuka shines, known for a meticulous work ethic. This is what Greg Cosell talks about. A meticulous work ethic, vocal leadership in Ohio State's receiver room, and zero character red flags. His academic honors, academic all Big Ten, and community involvement boost his profile.
God, he's a Packer, man.
He is a Packer.
That's just
So what do you read when you say, or what? How do you read into that? His frame may need monitoring against physical corners. Do you think they're just like there's a concern that he's going to get rerouted off the line if they're playing press or something?
I think that's exactly what it means. Emilio, what do you think? To me, it feels like it's, hey, look, you don't want to consistently put him in a situation where if somebody's jamming him, you and I take of this, and it's exactly what Greg Cosell said when people said Egbuka is not an outside receiver. He's like, he has specifically said if you put him in a Sean McVay style offense, which is Matt LaFleur's offense, where you've got a moving Z, what we refer to on Chalk Talk as the F in Matt LaFleur's offense, then that's where you get those free releases. So, Tim, I take that as you got to monitor that in the sense of you want him being that cheap motion guy so he doesn't get jammed, and he's got that 10-yard split of 150. Is that how you're reading it too, Emilio?
That's exactly how I was seeing it. I think that the way you can kind of flip-flop Jayden Reed and him if you were to get it, if you want Jayden Reed on the slot, even if you keep Jayden Reed on the slot, you're using Egbuka as a flyer, but Jayden Reed's off the line of scrimmage, he still can have that a little bit of a free release, not being pressed up. You could stack them. We go tight a lot. We got, doubles tight. You can get yourself free without having to, always move Jayden Reed or Egbuka, or we can go, two motion. Really, you got to keep the defense honest. I think Matt LaFleur is going to bring something new. We talked pistol last year. Maybe it's double motion. Maybe it's a whole shift. You start on the right side, everybody flips left, something like that.
Yeah, I can see it.
I agree.
Chris in the chat says, I don't see what Goot won't like about Egbuka, RAS, etc. I mean, seriously, when you look at these top 30 visits, you start to try to narrow them down and go, okay, what pick are they looking at that guy at? Because a top 30 visit doesn't mean you're just looking at him for the first round pick, right? I mean, they're kind of scattered throughout the draft is how Goody, and he got that from Ted Thompson. Ted Thompson was really big on that. So when you look at it from that perspective, okay, what would disqualify Egbuka from being the 23rd pick? Him not being there is the only thing I can find, Chris. I mean, really, that's what it comes down to. So
I think we would all agree he's not going to make it out of the first round.
Yeah, I think that's fair, Tim. Coach Lynn said here, Egbuka would work great and reduce formations great in the blocking game also, and the monster aggressor asked, can Egbuka beat man? PFF has him as an 80.9 grade versus man.
Wow.
Check another one off the box. All right, let's go to the PFF grades here. Starting in 2021, his grade 72.8. In 2022, he jumped to an 83.1. 2023, he had the ankle injury, fell back to a 72.9. And in 2024, he jumps back up to a 79.5. Now, when you look at the snaps here, he was in the backfield 16 snaps. He actually attached inline 27 snaps, and that's that real close that when they go to those nasty condensed sets, you know how we would put Christian Watson right there, almost looks like a tight end position.
Right.
They were actually putting Egbuka in there. And Egbuka's a physical player too. Like he'll peel somebody's cap. You look at this kid, he's built solid. Like he's not really built like a Jayden Reed, to be honest with you. He's built more like I don't even know what to say here. I don't want to say Hines Ward because Hines Ward was thick, but just a more physical receiver in that regard. He'll block and he'll stick his nose in there and do the dirty work. And I'm telling you, as I was going through and grabbing pics for the article, bro, there was pictures everywhere of just bodies laying around him as he's running with the football. I'm like, this is what I'm talking about.
No block, no rock.
All right, so in line, that's what that means with the 27 snaps. In the slot, he had 548 snaps, and then he had 164 out wide. Now, keep in mind, he may have lined up in the Z, and then by the time the ball was snapped, he moved into the slot as well. So that's a lot of what Matt LaFleur, I think, would do with him. So, and again, the offensive grade 79.5, but the receiving grade 82.4 there for Egbuka. So here's his draft projection. I just said Emeka Egbuka projects as a mid to late first round pick in the 2025 NFL draft, buoyed by his 2024 dominance with 1,011 yards, 10 touchdowns, and combine performance at number 19 on our PTA big board. He's a premium talent in a loaded receiver class. The Packers holding number 23 could snag him to bolster their passing attack. with his plug-and-play ability, making him a strong fit. Egbuka's floor is a high-end wide receiver 2 with Pro Bowl upside, unlikely to slip past round 1, given his fit in today's pass-heavy NFL. Anything else you guys want to hit on here with Egbuka as I battle this pterodactyl over here?
Well, real quick, Bates was asking if we had ever done a mock where we were forced to take him in the first and see how everything else fails. He says his brain can't remember. I don't think we've done that for him. I know that we did it for.
I know we did corner first, right?
That was it. We had to pick a corner first, I believe. That might be interesting to explore.
Maybe we can try to do that tonight if we have time to do one real quick, right? We'll kind of just key in on Egbuka. Hopefully he'll be there. That's the other thing. It kind of starts to feel like Jahdae Barron, like maybe this dude's gone before you pick 23. But
Love and Football says all those Ohio State connections on our staff too. Sounds like he could be one of the Goody breaks the trends for. He goes on to list those said connections, saying Dugan, Vince O, Hafley, all being former Buckeyes. Clearly, they'd have an inroad with Ryan Day and know the inside scoop about him. I think that's a fair point.
Great point. Great point there for sure.
Man, if we go Egbuka in the first, I guess I can kiss Jaden Higgins goodbye, huh?
Hey, Tim, why not double dip, baby? Why not double dip?
I really don't see. I at first I thought there's a possibility that we could trade back and still get Egbuka. I just don't think that's going to happen. But Prince brings up a good point here, saying McMillan, Golden, Egbuka. It's possible that one of the three makes it to 23. If that's the case, then
got Luther Burden in there.
Luther Burden's in there.
There really is.
I would have a hard time believing that you add Luther Burden to this list. I have a hard time believing all 4 of those are gone before Packers pick at 23.
Right. With what, 20 D tackles going in the first 3 rounds. Yeah. So I mean, it's possible. Clay, before this gets away from us, real quick, Chase Green says, Clayton, I love the podcast, but I agree with you. O tackle and a 3 tech is more important than wide receiver. Scored 10 points against the Eagles. To me, we should go OT or tight end. Tight end gives us yards and blocking.
I like it. Hey, appreciate the kind words, buddy. Tight end is really picking up steam for the Packers, at least from the fans. You know what I mean? It's like everybody's starting to look at, hey, if these receivers are gone, that means a good tight end drops to you. Why not take a tight end and use that as a weapon? I mean,
take a little weight off Tucker's shoulders.
Yeah. And look at what Brock Bowers did last year, right? Which we had Brock Bowers as one of, if not the best prospects on our board, which I want to do that. That needs to be an episode coming up real soon to where we go back and look at our last year's vertical board and see how many we hit on, kind of see how those guys feel. I think that's a lot of fun. Yep. So, all right. So there you go. Emeka Egbuka in for a top 30 visit. All right. Let's see here real quick. H.E. Solder says, is there a big difference between Egbuka and Higgins or Harris? I think when you look at those 3 players, Egbuka is a 4-year player at Ohio State where they have had arguably the best wide receivers in all of college football that entire time. When you look at Higgins, smaller school, Iowa State, right? Now the strengths to Higgins that Egbuka doesn't have. When you look at Trey Harris, I want to say he played – was that the one that played – I can't remember where he played. He played at a smaller school and transferred to Ole Miss, right? So Ole Miss is a big school, don't get me wrong, but he kind of came up through the ranks, and I'm sure that was an NIL deal, as opposed to, say, Egbuka, who like everybody was saying in the chat, I think the way I would answer this question, I'll get your all's take before we move on. Solder, what I would say is Egbuka has been that dude since high school, and these other guys have kind of emerged, that would be the main thing that I would think the difference would be. They're all different players. Higgins is a big body possession receiver, right? With good speed too. Harris beats the hell out of man coverage and has great hands, right? Which Higgins has got great hands too. Egbuka, to me, would be able to do more of what Higgins and Harris couldn't do, and that's that moving Z and what LaFleur likes to use in his offense. What do you guys think?
I think with Higgins, he's similar build to Harris. So when you look at Egbuka, a couple inches in height, couple pounds in weight, like you said, big body possession receiver. I think the thing that makes Higgins stand out, I've said this before, is the route tree. I don't think there's a route he's incapable of running effectively. And I think that might give him an edge over a Trey Harris or an Egbuka.
Got it.
I think that's fair. The only thing I would say in regards to Egbuka is working out of the slot gives him a lot of more two-way goes. I feel like he's kind of, he can be dominant left-right, rather than if he's like a one-sided receiver type thing. But, yeah, I mean, Trey Harris would be a, stretcher, tall, can, like Clay said, beat man. Same with Higgins. So
there you go. Wish y'all could see this pterodactyl. He's on my screen mocking me right now, bro. He just flipped me the bird.
he did.
Yeah, he just said he's about to go over the camera. If he goes over the camera, this is gonna be hilarious. Hold up, please do this. Oh my god, come on, climb over that camera, dude. All right, anyway, back to the show. We'll see if he does. You'll see it get blurry here, man. That would be hilarious, dude.
So Turtles, real quick. We talked about it briefly, but I forgot about a couple. He says Emeka in Ohio's all-time receptions is Ohio's all-time receptions leader, considering the fact he was behind Olave, Wilson, Harrison, and Jeremiah Smith. I forgot about Olave. That's crazy.
Jeremiah Smith is unbelievable too. So I mean, that's it. I mean, for him to be still producing like that around that kind of talent, coming out as a 5-star, that's big.
Yep.
Clayton's
going after it right now.
Yeah.
Wash your hands, wash your butt, man. That's it. That's all.
That was
I ain't playing those games. He got evicted. All right, he's out of here. Get him out of here. All right.
Question mark. My biggest worry with Egbuka is just what Coach Len is saying right here is that I don't want him to take reps away from Wicks if we draft Egbuka. My only worry is what Coach Len says.
Gotcha. No, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Agree. It would put my boy Malik Heath on the chopping block too, as well, for that last spot.
Yeah, that would definitely shake up the wide receiver room just a touch. I imagine they would give him an opportunity to win that starting job as much as possible. Now, the other thing about the moving Z, the F, you got to know all the choice routes, and what we mean by that is everybody's got to know choice routes in the offense, but that F is a lot more difficult because it's moving into different spots, and that choice route changes from where you start on the formation to where you're going to end at the snap of the ball, right? And it could be a wolf concept that if they play outside leverage and you got the corner out of the 2, then okay, if they've got outside leverage and you're running the corner out of the 2, then you sit instead of run the corner. And you got to know those things, and the quarterback's got to be on the same page with the receiver. That's why you've seen Aaron Rodgers constantly cussing all those rookie receivers. And it's why people are like, no, Aaron needs to throw to the open guy. Shut up, quit complaining. And you got first ballot Hall of Famer Kurt Warner going, boys, these receivers are not breaking their routes off the way they're supposed to in this offense.
Right.
So it is amazing how many people on Twitter argue with a Hall of Fame quarterback, but that's just the way it goes. All right, let's move it along to the next top 30 visit. Anything else on the Booga Boys? That was a fun conversation. I enjoyed that thoroughly.
Yep.
All right. How about his teammate, Josh Simmons? All right. Packers reportedly schedule a top 30 visit with Ohio State offensive tackle Josh Simmons. Says the Green Bay Packers have reportedly scheduled a top 30 visit with Ohio State offensive tackle Josh Simmons, according to team sources. And Easton Butler is the first one to have it. I just want to give him a shout out. All 3 of these Easton Butler had, like he always does. Positioning him as a notable prospect for the 2025 NFL Draft, Simmons ranked number 24 on our PTA big board. Showcased his strength in the NFL Combine with his 6'4", 317-pound frame and 33-inch arms. There it is, boys. That's what you need to play tackle in the NFL, right? Offering the Packers a potential long-term solution at tackle to protect Jordan Love's blind side. This was him in high school, by the way, boys. That was him when he was verbally committed to USC, I believe. Look at this guy right here.
Wow.
Scouting report out of high school. I'll just keep it on the knees there for a minute for you boys, all right? Jacob, don't get too excited. A 3-star recruit from Helix High School in La Mesa, California, Josh Simmons entered the 2021 class as a raw but intriguing lineman. At 6'5", 280 pounds, they give all these kids 1 extra inch of height. Have you noticed that on every one of these reports? So,
Clay, come on, you didn't do that. You didn't do that in high school. You didn't put 6 foot.
Well, I actually am 6 foot.
Yeah. Oh,
just saying, miss. What do you want?
Okay, so you put 6'2". You put 6'2", 225.
You got to understand where I went to high school. At Cumberland High School in Harlan County, Kentucky. Well, they didn't think they're measuring people for height. You think they're even asking? They're like, hey, can you throw that baseball from shortstop to the first baseman and not hit somebody in the stands? Yeah, I think. All right.
Put you up on the website.
Get out.
Get ready
So anyway.
to go.
At 6'5", 280, he displayed impressive athleticism and length, excelling at left tackle with a quick first step and natural bend. His senior film highlighted his ability to mirror edge rushers and dominate in the run game, earning him all-league honors. Ranked number 46 among California prospects by 24/7 Sports. Simmons committed to San Diego State over offers from Nevada and Fresno State, seen as a high upside project with NFL potential. When you look at the PFF grades here, in 2022, he's a 47.1, then he jumps to a 67.5, and then last year a 74.4, albeit I think that was cut short last year with an injury. We'll get to that here in a second. But his pass block grade, 82.0 with a run block grade of 68.7. It says college statistics. Simmons' 4-year college career from 21 to 24 spans San Diego State and Ohio State, showcasing steady growth before an injury cut his final season short. In 21, he redshirted at San Diego State, appearing in 2 games. As a redshirt freshman in 2022, he started all 13 games at right tackle, allowing 2 sacks and earning honorable mention All-Mountain West. Transferring to Ohio State in 2023, he started 13 games at left tackle, surrendering 1 sack and earning honorable mention All Big Ten. In 2024, Simmons started 5 games before a season-ending knee injury, allowing 0 sacks and 1 pressure and 152 pass-blocking snaps. Career totals, 31 starts, 3 sacks allowed, and consistent improvement across 33 games. When you look at the RAS, obviously with the injury, it's incomplete. He does have the 33-inch arms. His hand size is 10 inches. Huge paws on this cat. 6'4", 317. So the 6'4", you guys remember the article we did on the height? That 6'4" seems to be that cutoff spot, that sweet spot. Bench press, though, scoring a 9.83 at 34 bench reps. This dude is a dog on the bench press. Detailed scouting report entering the draft at the combine. Simmons measured 6'4", 317 pounds with 33-inch arms, demonstrating his power with an impressive 34 bench reps. His 2024 tape, though limited, showcases a fluid, powerful tackle with exceptional movement skills. He fires off the snap with a quick kick slide, mirroring speed rushers effortlessly, and anchors well against power with a strong base. His run blocking improved markedly at Ohio State, where he excelled at sealing edges and climbing to the second level. Boy, can somebody say duo, right? Mm-hmm. While his injury, a torn patellar tendon, raises durability questions, his pre-injury tape suggests a high-floor, high-ceiling prospect who could thrive at left tackle in Green Bay's zone-heavy scheme.
On my knee.
Injury and character concerns. Simmons' primary concern is a torn patellar tendon suffered in October of 2024 against Oregon, ending his senior season after 5 starts. Pre-injury, he was trending towards offensive tackle 1 status, and recent reports indicate he's progressing well, targeting a full recovery by training camp. So he should be good to go at training camp. No other significant injuries mar his record. Off the field, Simmons is a low-key, high-character prospect, praised for his coachability, work ethic, and team-first mentality at both San Diego State and Ohio State. His transfer to Ohio State reflects ambition, not discontent, and he carries no red flags. Goes on to say draft projection. Projects as a late first-round to early second-round pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, bolstered by his pre-injury dominance and combine strength. At number 24 on our big board, he's a top-tier tackle in strong offensive line class. The Packers with pick 23 could target him to solidify their line, though his injury might cause a slight slide into day 2. Teams needing immediate tackle help may hesitate, but his upside as a day 1 starter with all-pro potential should keep him in the top 40, especially given the league's premium on athletic blockers. So obviously, I think the Packers, Jacob, what they're looking to do, man, is they're trying to get this cat in-house to get their hands on that knee and make sure everything checks out there and see, okay, he was trending toward possibly being the best offensive tackle in this draft. When you talk about who's the top tackle? Will Campbell. What's the argument? His arms are too short. You don't have that here with Josh Simmons, obviously. So the injury is what's pulled him down, but still, even with that on our board, man, I'd be okay with him at 23. I know there's a lot of fans that will be really pissed off about it, though.
Yeah, I don't know where I would fall with it. If we picked him at 23, I would definitely have my concerns. Obviously, the injury that you talked about, but I can't remember if it was Greg Cosell or if it was somebody else, but it was one of the others that I really respect. And they said that they're worried about the kid. They said that not just because of the injury, that because for whatever reason they just didn't see a lot of the dominance, and they're worried that this injury is going to set him back more than it would a normal type prospect. And they actually said they were more impressed with, I believe it was the guard that kicked out to tackle and ended up covering him. Was it Donovan Jackson? Yeah, I believe so. So at 23, think I'd probably be a no. But if for some reason we were able to trade back, 5, 6, 7 picks, he's still hanging around in that early second for some reason, I'd feel good about it. But yeah, there's going to be a large plethora of Packer fans that are not too excited to have a tackle in the first round with knee injuries. I'll just say that.
Tim, Daniel Jeremiah kind of agrees with Jacob. He has him in the 30 spot. That seems like 23 is a little bit too much of a reach there. But Kyle Krabs had him in the 8 spot. Dane Brugler had him at 17. So what do you think about Josh Simmons here?
I like Josh Simmons a lot. The injury history is a legit concern, especially with the PTSD we all have from David Bakhtiari. We know what it's like to have a tackle with a knee that just will never get right. I think at 23, if we go tackle, I like Kelvin Banks Jr. out of Texas more. I keep looking at Simmons and Banks Jr. Kind of back to back lately, and I just feel like if we're going to go tackle in the first round, I kind of like the kid out of Texas a little bit more.
Yeah, and we've got Josh Simmons, I think, is the 4th best tackle. Our tackle board goes Will Campbell at 6, Armand Membo at 8, Kelvin Banks, your boy, at 13, and then we've got our boy Josh Simmons at the 24 spot. So, Amelia, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was DJ, but somebody said, I want to say DJ, that Josh Simmons would have been the first tackle on the board. He would have been number 1 tackle if it wasn't for the knee. Patella tendon, that's the tendon that's holding the kneecap in place if you swiggle it back and forth. That's where they take you from if you're getting an ACL replacement. So it's not something that's – I feel like it's not something that's going to be a crazy naggy thing. I think that as long as he gets the feeling of it, like if you want to, you bring him in, you make sure that you can put your thumb on the scar and all that stuff. Make sure you can move it around. He's not wigged out by that. I would not be opposed to it. You know me, I'm building that wall. If we can get another first-round tackle that would have been a starting left tackle, if he played the whole year, he probably would already be gone. That's something that's up my alley.
Got it. Good stuff, man. All right, again, that is Josh Simmons.
You guys – sorry, I was just going to ask if Doc was in the chat, which I thought he was. I would have better for whatever it was to his patella. And the doctors told us sometimes, depending on the patella, that it can actually be quite a longer recovery time. 3 to 6 months is best case, but usually it's 6 to 9 months is what I remember he was having to deal with. If that's true, does that scare you even a little more than nowadays with it? I remember when ACLs used to be like, that was real bad. Now it feels like an ACL is like, oh, he'll be back in 6 months. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So yeah. I just, I don't know if there's anybody in the chat that has a little bit more of an understanding of that. If you could maybe talk about it.
And I mean, it happened in October, and they expect him to be ready for training camp. So that's good enough for me. Yeah.
You see the photo here, which is great. You see the braces on both legs, and that's preemptive. A lot of O linemen wear that preemptively. And it just shows he still jacked his knee up, even with the preventative stuff on. It just shows the stress that these guys are under at those positions, Yeah,
definitely. All right, that's Josh Simmons again coming in the number 24 spot on our big board. He's dropped because of the injury. That's going to do it for hour 1. For those of you listening on the pod, we will see you on the other side for hour 2. We appreciate you.